So today we're talking about dealing with distractions in a P7 club. So today we're talking about dealing with distractions in a P7 club meeting. What do you do? How do you handle it? How are you going to respond when we're talking about dealing?
I was laughing.
So today we're talking about dealing with distractions. So today we're talking about dealing with distractions in a P7 club meeting. How are you going to respond when someone calls you out? How are you going to respond when someone has a rude comment or is not paying attention? Today we have Jonathan and Keith here talking with us about how we are going to respond in distractions if we're P7 club leaders. So say, for example, you have someone in your P7 club meeting that's there to just be a distraction. Keith, how would you handle that?
Unfortunately, this is an experience that some clubs do have, where a young person just wants to disrupt the flow of club. The first thing that you want to do is politely ask the person to be quiet that you're trying to teach. If the situation escalates, then the teacher sponsor is there for a reason. You need to ask the teacher sponsor to remove the kid from the classroom, and that's a good way to deter the student.
You know, a lot of times, I've found that just asking them politely to be quiet helps. Staying cool under fire, not getting too agitated, not kind of getting in an argument or a tussle. But just, politely asking them and like he said, enlisting the sponsor to help you as well. But the big key is to stay cool under fire. You're not there to fight anybody. You're not there to get in a battle or get embroiled and heated. So just stay cool under fire and kind of roll with it. And I think most people, when you ask them, to cool down or to stop talking, that they're usually going to comply.
Absolutely. A great way also is to diffuse the situation with some humor. Mm-hmm. The sense of humor will diffuse the situation. The person will actually laugh with you, and the club can go on.
Sure. Okay.
Hey, distractions?
Do you need to take that, or?
In the middle of...
What are you... Sorry, it's my mom calling. Hey, Mommy. No, I'm not at home.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, so what we're going to be talking about today, continuing is if someone is talking on their phone or having their own side conversations, you want to stay on point. You want to stay on task. And even though it's very, very difficult to continue to be talking about that, you don't want to just train wreck your P7 club meeting in order to. Are you okay?
Was your mom okay? We all heard the conversation.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's cool.
So what you don't want to do is stop your P7 club meeting to pay attention to that person. If that person needs to be on their phone for something, I think it's fair enough to ask that person to step out in the hallway to make a phone call or to do something that they need to be doing. So, Jonathan, I've got a question for you that's a very, very difficult question, and I want to make sure that I get the perfect answer from you. And so I'm going to pose this question to you, and it could be the most difficult question that you've ever heard in your life. What is your answer going to be?
I don't know. Seriously, it's okay sometimes to say, I really don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a theologian. I haven't gone to Bible college yet. I haven't done any of those things. So I don't always know all the answers to every question. And a lot of times we put too much pressure on ourselves to say, I've got to have the answer to every single question. You don't have to have the answer to everything. A lot of people will respect you if you just admit, sometimes I don't know, but I promise I'm going to go ask my youth pastor. I'm going to research and study and try to find the right answer to give you. And if you'll remind me next week, I'll be happy to answer your question. And if it's one of those types of questions that, it's not the right environment, if it seems like the person is being combative, it's okay to say, I'd love to answer that question. Let's meet after class or set a time and have a one-on-one Bible study. And then that way you can kind of address it in a more personal way where it doesn't seem like anybody's being isolated in the classroom.
That's great to hear, definitely. And I think those conversations can really turn into deep relationships that you can have with those people where they can really hear more about Christ.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what you don't want is a debate in front of your class. You don't want to waste your time on debate or conflict. Mm-hmm. And if you take them outside and it's one-on-one, the rest of the class doesn't have to be distracted by that conversation.
Certainly.
You know, I found that one of the most amazing things about a Bible club is not even necessarily what happens just in the meeting space and the meeting time, but what happens outside of the classroom. So I encourage you to always invite people to have a personal Bible study. And in those personal conversations, there's so much that can happen. I remember when I started a Bible club when I was in high school, which was quite a while ago, and I'm not going to tell you when. But when I started a Bible club, I had a student that he had asked me if I had ever considered suicide. And I mean, that was a huge distraction. So I said, hey, let's have a Bible study. Let's talk about it later. We ended up talking about it one-on-one. We sat for about an hour and had a Bible study. And I'm happy to say that he came to church and got the Holy Ghost a few weeks later.
That's great.
And so God was moving in his life. And it's just important to know when to answer things in front of everyone, and to also know that being a P7 missionary doesn't stop in the classroom.
Right.
It's your life. It's everywhere that you go.
Definitely. So say, for example, I'm a P7 leader and I've got a teacher sponsor that's in the room that wants to take over my P7 club meeting. Say, for example, they know that verse and want to step in, or they disagree with me, or whatever the reason, the teacher steps in and says, hey, let me offer this suggestion and take over. What do I do?
I think your starting point is knowing your rights. Students have a Bill of Rights of all the things that they're allowed to do in the school and what's not allowed. Part of the Equal Access Act states that a club has to have a non-participatory school sponsor. This is a faculty member in the school who doesn't participate in the actual activities of the club. They're just there to make sure that there's no problems, to make sure that there aren't any distractions, and basically to make sure of the basic welfare of the class. And so if you know your rights and you know that that's the case, then I recommend that you would pull the teacher aside after a class and very politely explain to them that they're being a distraction to you, and that the Bible club is a student-led, student-initiated effort, and that you would appreciate it if she would allow you to conduct the club as you normally would. I think most teachers are going to respect that and honor that.
Exactly. And before your club starts, you should already express these rules to them. Now, just because they're non-participating doesn't mean that you can't include them every once in a while. The student leader has the right to empower the teacher if he wants to include them. That keeps a great relationship, but they can't step out of order of the student leader, because the student leader is in control of the club. Now, if the situation continues to deteriorate, then you're going to have to go to your principal and talk about the teacher sponsor and what the rules are. Now, your teacher sponsor can then withdraw from your club and you'll have to find another teacher sponsor. And we hope that that never happens. But sometimes it is and sometimes it does happen. So you just have to start back from square one.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes it could just be that the sponsor or the teacher, really they just are excited. They want to be involved in what's going on, and they see this incredible opportunity.
Right.
And so there are ways that you can empower the teacher, because the teacher has religious rights in the school as well. Right. They're just not allowed to influence without being invited, you know, their opinion or their conversation being invited. So sometimes you might address a teacher and say, hey, could you speak just this one day, or could you share your testimony? And just give them an opportunity, an outlet, and kind of define the role and give it confines and borders. And that way, you know, the teacher's less inclined to step over bounds or to offend. And it also establishes your role as the P7 missionary.
Absolutely, because the teacher is giving up their time to be with your club to facilitate them. So allow them to be involved a little bit, you know, give them some roles. It'll help your relationship.
Cool. Now, if you've got any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us, whether it's on social media or directly on our website. If there's a specific situation that we can help you through, make sure to reach out to us and let us know if there's any way that we can help you.